Dirt roads to rock crawling, two-buck chuck to screaming eagle, moonshine to 50-year-old single malt. We talk about it all here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey with your hosts, Jason and Chris.
Welcome to the Wheeling Wine and Whiskey Podcast, episode 238. Some of us are in the home studio. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing.
You're in your home
really
studio.
Good. Welcome back to the show, Jason.
Hey, thanks for having me. I still haven't listened to that episode yet. I guess I got to listen to it. I got some messages.
It's 15 minutes of gold.
Is that what it is? That's what I've heard. I've heard it's pure gold that I really don't even need to be in the podcast anymore. So that's right. Great. Gives me more free time.
Just going to get a picture of Lorenzo stuck on the wall here, and I'll just talk to him, and he'll hopefully not talk back to me.
He doesn't talk back anymore. He's good. So what's going on? What's new and exciting? You survived Thanksgiving, getting ready for the holidays. You got all your Christmas shopping done.
No.
You're ready to go. Oh, no? Oh.
No. The latest news is my wife's car is broken.
Again.
And
that's a Chicory, right? Jeep Chicory?
Yeah, Jeep Cherokee. Apparently it developed a tick under the hood, and it's doing a little Dr. Google searching. It turns out it's potentially a roller rocker on the one of the, from the cam.
Okay.
That a bearing apparently on a roll. It's a pretty common failure on the 3.6 and the 3.2 liter V6s for Fiat.
No kidding.
So it's pretty loud too. It's kind of like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, so I did, like I said, a Google search. I'm like, that's not good. So I started making a few phone calls, and it's funny. There's a couple of shops that I like to use here in town. They don't want to do internal engine work. And I'm like, okay, can you recommend somebody? And they recommended somebody. So on Monday, the Jeep is going into the shop to it's supposed to be, once you get all the stuff off the top of the engine, it's supposed to be a pretty easy and straightforward repair, but I think they have to replace one of the camshafts and obviously the rocker arm.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah, I'm prepared for whatever, but it's just this car has been, she loves it. She absolutely loves that Cherokee, but it's kind of the bane of our existence. So now
she's had some bad cars over the years.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if it's the abuse of teenagers.
I was going to say, is it the driver?
I think, well, the teenagers, they all got trained on them, and I think there's some abuse from teenagers.
No,
I don't know.
On.
I'm not going to go there, but happy wife, happy life. I did suggest an electric car to her, and she kind of started getting her head spun like The Exorcist.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I was like, wow.
Oh, my God.
So oh my God. We're not getting an electric car, that's for sure. So
okay. Well, there you go.
So she's driving the Chevy, and I'm back in the Ram. Yeehaw! My commuter is a full size pick 'em up truck again.
Hey, good. There you go. Back to your roots, man. You love your Dodge, so
I do, and it was pouring rain. That's why I'm a little late. It was driving home. It was pouring down rain this afternoon.
Another storm rolled through, huh?
Yep. Well, I was a little bit surprised. It was sunny all day, and then this cloud bank rolled in and started dumping, and we need it, so I'm not going to complain, but obviously trying to get home to record, and you got people in your way on the freeway, and it's
I don't know how to drive.
Get out of my way! But I'm here, and we're making it happen, so yeehaw. What's going on with you?
Well, the mountains turned white. So that's a huge plus.
Well, we all knew that was coming, and that's probably why you weren't on the episode last week.
No, that was we were busy here. You and I couldn't connect over the weekend. That was the problem,
right?
So, out gallivanting around the Livermore hillsides. You were,
yeah, for sure. How much snow did you guys get?
Well, up in the mountains, they got 6 inches at Heavenly, 9 at Kirkwood. So that's a good storm.
That's 69 right there.
It pretty giggity. All right. So yeah. So it's great. So I'm excited, and nothing on the valley floor here, which is fine. It's nice to be able to look at it and not have to shovel it off your driveway or front porch. So
did you get rain?
Oh, yeah. It dumped real good here. So,
oh, good. More tumbleweeds can grow. Perfect.
That's right. Exactly. So, Yeah, well, good. Well, we got any business? I think we got a couple voicemails now that I think about it. I better check that. You
Voicemails
deal
have
with business
returned.
on your side. Let me come back to. Yep, we do have a voicemail.
I got no business. I don't think I haven't. Like I said, this is kind of dropped on me suddenly, so I don't have
got
a
nothing.
lot of business to conduct right now. I know that I will repeat the Justin Wicks prints are still for sale on the website. If you can go, we'll have a link in the show notes. And
I think we have 5 left.
5, huh?
If
They're
my count
fast.
is correct. Yeah, I think we have 5 left.
Okay.
So that's great. I might see him this weekend and hand him the first check.
Woohoo!
So that'll be great. I know their car is stripped down and ready for wiring, and so they are, they got a lot of work ahead of them, but they're making good progress. So,
well, that's great to hear. Make sure Lorenzo doesn't see that check. He mimight run off to CVI.
I know. He's been good lately. You had to say CVI. Now his ears perked up. See, he's all excited. It's Thursday night. I think it's ladies' night tonight. He likes to go down there on Thursday night. So we'll have to see.
Lady donkeys.
Well, whatever. Those two-legged deer.
Two-legged deer.
All right. So yeah, I got a couple voicemails here. So let's play. I haven't listened to it. So let's see how this goes. This will be good. Okay. Good. And let's see.
Hey, this is Jan from Southern California, and I really enjoyed the episode with the owner of Element Fire Extinguisher. I just went to CarTech to go buy some more, and apparently they're not for sale or use in California anymore. The counter guy at CarTech said something about a racer that couldn't put his fire out with it, so he sued Element. And then somehow the state fire marshal in California got involved and banned them. It would be nice if you guys would interview the owner of Element again and give us some more information about this. Love the show. Thanks.
All right.
Well,
we can talk to that.
Yeah. He's not caught up apparently. So yes, that has been issued by the fire marshal, but it's a knee-jerk reaction. As we talked about, it's because Element is not willing to spend the millions of dollars to get it past the fire marshal there. As far as the racer thing, that is news to me. That is I'm going to say 99.9% false. That
fake news.
It's fake news, man. Fake news. It's funny how people jump to conclusions and everything. So what I recommend is you go watch Chasing 518 on the YouTube channels.
Yep.
Chasing 518. Kevin Jones, Ultra4 Jones, and I did a video, and it explains a lot. And you can form your own opinion of whether you want to have it in your rig or not. In a racing environment, it doesn't have to be approved by California. Even if you're racing in California, it's sanctioned. If it is approved by your racing governing body, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So Ultra4 or whatever it is, if they say it's okay in the rule book, you can use it on your race car. So that is true. Not for sale in California anymore, which is unfortunate because I still, like I said, the short version of my elevator speech is I think you should have one element that's within arm's reach and then a traditional powder fire extinguisher, minimum 5-pounder that you can get right behind it. So anyways, but watch the video and form your own opinion.
It's a great video. Very, very informative and easy to watch, fun to watch.
Yeah. And it's a little lengthy, but you can watch it at like 1.5 speed or something, but there's a lot of good entertainment in there. We've gotten great reviews. So, and the naysayers have not, they've shut up. We haven't heard from them. So
that's good.
So we proved our point. So it was very timely when it came out. Kevin busted his ass. We did it on a Thursday and it was live by Sunday. So he did a great job editing and getting it out right away. So yeah. And as far as, the racers that, have thrown it across the track or whatever that are poo-pooing it. It really
Right?
came down to not knowing how to use it.
Exactly.
I'll leave it at that, but fight me.
Right.
So there you go.
Well, there you go. You can call in, leave a voicemail, and you'll get a response to any question almost immediately.
I got one more here.
I know you do. Let's play it.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Hey guys, Jason Barry here. Just listening here to the start of episode 236, and I hear you guys have a math question. So, Jason, the term you're probably looking for is called a Fibonacci sequence. Except the traditional Fibonacci is really the sum of the previous two terms in the sequence. And so for those that aren't educated, a sum means an addition, not multiplication. So Chris's reference of 2 times 3 equaling 6 for episode 236 would actually be a multiplicative Fibonacci sequence, but you're starting the pattern sequence with the number 2 rather than number 1, so it'd be some kind of bastardized multiplicative Fibonacci. Anyways, didn't plan on starting my day out with fucking arithmetic, but here we are. Never a dull moment with your podcast. Keep up the good work, boy. That's all your local idiot savant has for the day. Oh, yeah, Toyota sucks, but so do Ford. I would know. I own both of them.
Perfect.
Well, there we go. Well, thanks for calling in, Jay Barry. Yeah, and I knew there was some term for that, but
I think he sprained his mouth when he said Fibonacci sequence.
Fibonacci sequence.
I just sprained my mouth.
Yeah, that's it. Well, see,
it's a lot of syllables.
The knowledge that you gain on this podcast is endless. What do we say here, Chris? We give till it hurts, right?
And believe me, I'm
give
hurting
till
right
it
now.
hurts. So it's hurting. So here we go. So right on.
And that concludes our business.
Well, there you go. Well, that's good. I just wanted to get those off the voicemail there. So
sweet.
So the voicemail is cleared. Call on in, make a comment, questions, whatever you got. Feel free to call 408-800-5169. And we'd love to hear from our fans out there. It's good stuff.
Yeah, we have fans.
I think so. A handful.
Apparently.
So.
Shocking.
Hey, yeah, I know. Hey, we got an interview. You ready?
I know. There's somebody sitting next to you. Who is that? And
I called you at a whim here. The great thing about the state of Nevada is all these cool people roll through this state and live here. So, I got a phone call that we need to do this interview, and I said, yeah, absolutely. So we've got Brad Falin here. Brad, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
So some of you are probably like, "Who the hell's Brad Falin? What's going on? Why?" Hey, we interview everybody, all the top celebrities behind the scenes. Your average Joe that sold his Toyota and bought a Jeep, and it was the best decision they ever made.
Was he hitchhiking on 395?
Yeah, he was saying no. Yeah, I showed up at lunch and met Brad. So Brad has some great stories. He was actually crew chief for Rod Hall for 6 years.
6 years.
6 years. Is raced Vora, raced Ultra 4. Has done a ton of pit support and crew chief stuff. So he's got some stories to tell. So welcome to the podcast, Brad.
Thank you.
And let's get into some of this stuff. So how'd you get involved with off-roading or in the racing arena?
I went to my first race as a crew person in 1985. We loaded up my van and we drove out to Parker, Arizona for the Parker 400.
For the Parker 400. There you go. So what was that like, just seeing that for the first time?
It was awesome because off-road racing, growing up in Southern California, off-road racing was very popular to us, but it was all, based off of Volkswagen stuff mainly. Macmillans, the Macmillans were the only ones with the 6-cylinder Class 1 Porsche cars, and everything else was Class 11 Volkswagens, Class 9s, and then you had your Camaros and your El Ranchos and your El Rancheras and the Ford Broncos, and
there you go.
It was the Miller Oldsmobile. I mean, those were good cars.
So 1985, yeah. So the Parker 400. So that's cool. that had to be, I mean, just electric being down in there and
being a kid. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, this is awesome. So I've always wanted to do this, and I had to figure out how to drive.
uh-huh.
I had to work on everybody else's car for 30 years before I could start driving.
Yeah, but the amount of knowledge that you gained in that time, I could only imagine. Just
Especially with shocks and shock tuning. Yes.
yeah,
And that seems endless. I think
suspension's
one of the-
everything, right?
I think if you watch a lot of the videos, especially Menzies or the McMillan's trophy trucks, those things are so dialed. I mean, I'm sure it beats you up, but they look like they're floating.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, it's art to watch it.
I've always seen it, on YouTube videos or TV or whatever, but when they finally started coming out to KOH and I got to see a trophy truck live in person operating like that over that terrain, I was like, it's almost poetic. It's crazy. The car is damn near stable and the tires are going every which way.
Right.
And the other side is, if you look at Pro Rally, the professional factory cars, those guys can send it and land and not break a lot of stuff. I mean, so it's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially the ones in Finland. My gosh.
Oh, really?
The big jumps they jump on the ice.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Those guys send it. I mean, that's a car.
Just gonna send it. Well, no doubt. Okay, so that's cool. So you're working on cars and everything, and involved in that whole racing arena, and then how'd you stumble upon Rod Hall and end up on his team?
I've worked for other teams as a volunteer down in Southern California for a while. And then I wanted to raise a family. So I moved up to Reno, Nevada in 91.
Okay.
And we had a fab shop when we were in Southern California. So we just built bumpers and cages and shock mounts and stuff like that. Nothing elaborate. I really wanted to do like a Nelson type shop, but unfortunately, I always had to have a job, and I was just a regular working guy. And then I would work on race cars or build stuff for people at night and on the weekends. So that eventually led me to Rod Hall had moved up here, and I went into their shop and just asked if they needed accessories for the H1s, like window, like they have these brush guards that prevent the window from getting smashed when you hit bushes, and bumpers, small stuff like that. Just something to fund my racing project. And that's how I got introduced with Rod Hall. So I started building some stuff, and then they got very, very busy with a military contract they had going on where they were building some armor plated vehicles for some special ops guys.
Oh, wow.
So they couldn't focus on the racing stuff. So they asked me to prep one of their Hummers. And the Hummer was already built and they were already racing it, but they just needed a good prep. And we started prepping the Hummers, and it's harder to prep cars like that because you're dealing with all factory components. So you have to take it apart and put it back together. You aren't allowed to fabricate a lot of stuff for the production class. Like you got to run the stock A-arms, the stock, you can change the motor mounts and a few other things, but you're dealing with a stock vehicle that you have to take apart and put back together. And there's more detail in that than sometimes in a trophy truck.
Sure. Well, yeah. And you're Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Were you doing a lot of, I mean, it sounds like you had to leave it totally stock, or were you allowed to beef up the portals or the half shafts or any of that stuff? Or
you could do the half shafts, but the only way you would really break a half shaft is you would basically launch the vehicle so you're in midair, and then you would panic brake and it stops the axle. So then the portal still wants to go and the tire wants to turn, and it just blows the half shaft out. Ooh. The stock half shafts, if you didn't make any mistakes, they'd easily go the whole Baja 1000. We never had to change them.
Interesting.
Or you get a hole in a boot and that would kill it. Yeah.
Well, and then how do those vehicles, I mean, they're massive, right? These Hummer H1s are just massive machines. And I mean, how do they compare to like a trophy truck or any of the other stock classes? Are they just like twice the weight and twice the size, or?
So there was a couple guys racing the expeditions back then.
Oh, geez.
So they were just as big. They got, I forget who it was, but they got 18 flats in Baja and before 250 miles. So they ran out of tires and they were done.
18 flats.
Yeah, 18 flats.
That's an expensive tire bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. I bought 4 recently and I went broke.
Yeah, exactly.
The Hummer did really good because it was built well. It was built to be a military vehicle, so it had a lot heavier duty components. It ran a 6.5 turbo diesel engine, so not a lot of horsepower to break stuff with, and a 4L80E is what we ran.
So, I mean, pretty common parts to be able to swap out. I guess the question is it easy to source parts for the vehicle, and are they relatively inexpensive if you can get them surplus or?
Yeah, they are now. Back then, Rod was sponsored by the factory, so we would have half shafts, and we never changed a differential in a race, or I think we've changed a T-case once, but transmission. But more than that, they're very reliable. And it uses a Dana 20 center section.
Oh, really?
Yeah. With a 256 gear or 283.
Well, I guess they can get away with that because they got the portal box on the on each tire or wheel. So, and then what was I'm just with this massive vehicle and just what was the maximum speed these things would achieve?
I think we would get to 87, and even when we had the factory proving grounds built a 2006 H1, and I think it would only do 92, and they just wanted to keep it at that speed. Basically, I think it was for engineering because I think inside the computer there's a vehicle speed limit for the tire size. So I think they didn't want to change that.
Interesting.
Because my H2 will shut off at like 97, but if you talk to guys that have a regular pickup, they can do 110, and I think it has to do with the tire size. I may be wrong, but
well,
yeah, I mean, you're spinning a 37-inch tire.
Yeah, 87 miles per hour. You don't need a flux capacitor.
I was going to say, is it 88? What was the magic number there?
Well, there's some of those roads in Baja, you're at 87 for a long time.
Oh my gosh.
But that was before they had speed limits and all that. You could just maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because earlier today I was on break at work and I started a video from the latest Baja 1000 popped up on my YouTube screen and I started watching it. I don't even know who it was, but it showed them in the starting gate with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and then the guy's like waving go, 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 and they take off and it's a trophy truck and it says speed limit for that area right off the start line, I guess was 60 miles per hour. And then, but man, the people are standing like really close to the edge of the track. And even when they're out in the desert and they're doing 100 miles an hour and they're flying over whoops and people are standing right next to the track. And I'm like, this is nuts.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's Mexico, man.
Mexico.
Okay. Well, yeah. So cool. So you start building and race prepping for we have a little hashtag race prep here on Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. So prepping for
I was prepping for Rod and also Chad.
Okay.
And his brother Josh.
Okay. All right. So you got fully immersed there.
Yeah.
And then so how long from when you were doing that to when they said, hey, we're gonna promote you to crew chief? That's
it kind of started after we finished I think we finished second in the Nevada 2000. I wasn't able to complete the last stage of the race with them because I was going back east and working with Nissan on the short course trucks for, I can't think of his name now. We were doing that too when all that was going on. So.
Okay. So yeah, you were busy.
Yeah. And I was married and had a job and kids and it was the whole ball of wax.
Wow.
Well, you keep harping on having the job thing. That's a bummer.
Yeah. Well, now I'm self-employed and I don't get vacation. So I don't know if it was better to have a job then and go racing or just keep working.
Right. Well, I don't know. Jason's self-employed and he's always on vacation. So.
Right. Well, that is my job is to vacate. Hey, so okay, so that's interesting. And then yeah, what was, I guess, question I have is what was Rod like, to work with, and, how involved was he in decision making and everything, right? He was just right there in the mix.
Rod was a dream to work with.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
And he was a really good driver. Like if you had to drive around your house, he could probably be the fastest guy to drive around your house. As far as very tight, very technical stuff, that guy could whiz through it.
Really?
He wasn't, and then he wouldn't just abuse the vehicle. He's very technical, very, very careful with stuff.
Okay.
Yes, every move was perfect, but it wasn't overblown. Like he didn't blow corners. He didn't get flat tires. He didn't abuse stuff. And then as far as his involvement in the program, he was a guy, he was only, I think it was 5'6" or 5'5", and he would change all the tires by hand himself.
Really?
Yeah, and stack them 4 high.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Yeah, no, he was tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
Like a fire plug. Built like a fire plug.
And his son Chad was an excellent driver too. Same thing. He's been racing for years and years. He's only had like 3 flats. I mean, they really took care of the vehicles.
So,
yeah.
Mechanical sympathy.
They didn't get flats.
Wow.
Well, those guys with the expedition probably should have taken a class.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, that's cool. You got like a favorite Rod Hall story?
Yeah, I got one of them.
Got a few.
We had, I would go with Rod because Rod wasn't, 100% mechanical guy. So, I mean, he knew what was going on, but he's not like, hey, give me this wrench. We're going to fix
Got
this.
it.
So
Okay.
they would put me in the car for those sections. And we left the starting line at the Baja 1000 and it was open. I mean, it's open highway. So we go into this blind corner and he goes into the left lane and we pass 3 cars. You're like, wow, we are going to die here or we are going to make a pass because you cannot see the car coming. It'd be like going up Mount Rose.
No kidding.
Some of those. Boom. It was so fun.
Die.
Well, I mean, your seatbelt is in the passenger seat. It's like you're in an H1.
Right.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you
and they didn't. That's what he said. He goes, "You never stop here, and you don't pull over."
Wow! Oh my gosh, man! Just to look back on stuff like that, and it's like how far racing's come, and the technologies and everything, and it's like, dude, these guys were freaking drivers. You had to be.
If you look at
drivers, but mechanics too. I mean, just like I said, everything's kind of on your own. Just like Ultra 4 now, with these guys out in the middle of the desert when they break down. Right, yeah. Exactly.
Well, they used to say the guy that used to prep Larry Rossler's truck would prep it in a dark room all by himself, and that's how he learned to be such a prep guy because when it breaks, that's pretty much where you are.
You're out
in the dark, no shop, no
cold,
just fix it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would change things up a bit.
I had one more story too, but it's mainly on the corruption of Baja. But my job as a crew chief was to take the car and get it into the start line position. And we would stay out at Estero Beach. So you had to drive the car into town. So you're in a fire suit and you have your helmet and that's about all you have.
Okay.
And you're in the race car on the street. So I had stopped for 6 of these gold lights, and down there they go really quick to red. So the 7th one I ran, and I got pulled over by a cop. And luckily we had this guy named Eddie, and he would make sure we had all the right paperwork. So you give the paperwork to the cops. He's like, "Oh, okay." Well, he goes, "I got to impound the car."
Oh,
like,
no.
What do you mean you got to impound the car?
No.
He goes, "Well, you have to pay a fine or impound the car." And I'm like,
"Jeez.
Well, how much is a fine?" He goes, "It's $200. I go, "Well, I've only got like $40 on me." So I go to hand him the $40 out the window. He's all, no. And he made me put the $40 on my leg, and he takes the $40. He goes, "Okay, you can go."
Shit. Yep.
But I didn't want to be the guy that got Rod Hall's car impounded.
God, can you imagine? Where's our car? Well, it's a funny story. It's on my way here. And you wouldn't believe it. I got him impounded.
Yeah.
Did you put in an expense receipt for $40?
Oh, yeah. No, I just never told anybody that. Kept it to myself.
And you heard it here first at Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. Oh my gosh, yeah, these stories that come out of the races, man, Baja especially, it's like
Baja's a different animal. I mean, you will get so tired that the big saguaro cactuses, I don't know if I said that right, but they start pointing. Like they go this way, or they seem to be leaning. And the neatest time I saw was I don't even know where we were, but someone had lit one on fire and it was all glowing.
Oh,
it was beautiful.
Oh, wow. I didn't think cactus would burn. But, a lot of water? No, I don't know.
Well, it was probably dead, but
gasoline
it was
anything, it'll burn.
I was going to say it was dead and had some alcohol thrown on it or something, methanol. Yeah. Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah, but Baja is a different experience. It's pretty neat.
When was the last time you were in Baja?
2006.
Okay, all right.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. I was wondering how.
Well, after I stopped with Rod, I tried to work on my marriage and all that, and it didn't work out. But so I started racing my own car.
There you go. How much did you see, or what changes in Baja from when you started going down there to 2006? All
that stuff was starting to they were starting to do the kidnappings and holding the people for ransom, and I was like, man, but we had a big enough group, we never had any problems. There was one time at Estero Beach when we were staying there, we were all working on the cars at night, and there's probably 40 or 50 of us in a dirt lot. And this cop shows up and he just hangs out. And they're like, well, what are you doing here? He goes, I'm here for your protection. I'm like, I got an 1.125 wrench. I think I'm going to be fine. I will knock somebody out.
Wow.
But we didn't know that people were being kidnapped and held for ransom like that.
Wow.
So it's just kind of spooky. Like you're in your element working on a car and all of a sudden, hey, this guy's here for your security. I'm like,
yeah, that's a little nerve wracking.
So.
Yeah,
gosh. Pay him $40 too, or no?
No, he was fine.
He was good, just hanging out there. Okay. Wow, interesting. So
you mentioned your own racing. You want to talk a little bit or a lot of bit about that, or?
Yeah, that's fine. I built my own car, and I basically took all my advice from Kurt LeDuc and put my tires here, my engine here, and figured out I wanted to sit here. And then designed around that. So it's a tube chassis. It's about 130-inch wheelbase. It's 96 inches wide. It was never meant for Ultra 4. I built it to race desert in Class 1. It's got about 20 inches in front travel and 22 in the rear.
Wow.
And it's all-wheel drive. So I took the Hummer platform of the geared hubs, the differentials, and the half shafts, and then put them behind a big block Ford. And I started off small with my big block Ford, basically stock. And then where we ended up in the car is today, it's like a 557 big block Ford with saw roller. So it goes really good now.
And what transmission? And
I run a C6 and a 205 transfer case.
Okay, there you go.
And the only thing I have ever done to the transfer case out of sympathy was change the oil and some seals in it once.
No kidding.
Oh, that thing's been bulletproof.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is a testament to that much power going to it. Oh,
keeping it simple, right?
Yeah, we did a lot of racing with Vora with that car, and especially here at the Wild West Park that they closed. That park was fun.
We love that park.
We could hit that jump at the bottom at 97 miles an hour. It was awesome.
Oh my God.
I could be in third gear in that track the whole time almost.
So how many years did you race Vora?
I started in Vora, I think, in 95.
Okay.
And we used to race a Class 10 car, Class 9 car, and just different cars.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, can you for the listeners, can you explain? Some listeners don't know what Class 10 and Class 9. I know, and I'm actually one of them. So.
I was going to say, you know what Class 9?
Class 10 used to be. It used to start off with a single seat Volkswagen engine and unlimited suspension, so you could do anything you want to the car. You had to have 1,650 cc's in your engine, and you could only have one seat. Then they started Class 12, and it had to have a beam. A Volkswagen front beam still. Okay. And then it started Class 12. That was basically the same car as a 10 car, but you could have two passengers. And then the class exploded and A-arms came out and liquid cooled motors came out and it killed everything.
Oh,
Well, they're trying to get the air cooled up to 1850 cc to compete with the Rabbits that were 1650 cc's, or the Toyotas that were the 22Rs or stuff like that.
oh, I see. Yeah.
So that's
okay.
where all the rules got screwed up.
Shit.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too. And that was when we were talking about the Baja race a few weeks ago on the show, and I was looking at the scoring or the final results, and there's a lot of classes that happen or that race in Baja, and it's a lot. It's pretty damn confusing, I think, for the lay person to decipher all that stuff. So, I mean, we know the trophy truck, and of course there's a lot of subclasses in the trophy truck, and then of course Ultra 4 has its classes, but then there's the Baja bugs and the Volks, whatever, which I guess was
class 11, right?
sand
They
rails
race.
and-
There's like two different
four.
classes of Baja bugs. So you have your 516, which is you take your 1600 cc motor, and you are not allowed to modify the suspension too much on the Baja bug. So I think you're allowed 2 inches on the trailing arm and 1 inch on the front beam, and that's what makes it a little different. But it has to be 2 people and 1600 cc's. And then your class 9 car is the same engine, 1600 cc on a tube chassis with a ball joint front end from a Volkswagen Bug and a swing axle transmission.
Wow.
And those are-
That's the class. That's all you get.
Mhm.
And
I mean-
that is you drive it to the floor. And those will go 58 miles an hour, maybe. I mean,
My back's hurting just hearing this.
we went across I drove one in the Baja 1000, and we went across El Diablo Dry Lake, and my leg cramped up because I couldn't keep my foot on the throttle at 58 miles an hour anymore, and mostly because it's the gearing in the transmission, so you have power in the hills. But I had my co-driver lean over and push the gas pedal so I could get my cramp out. So.
So
And you're
are
passing a Baja bug, and it takes like 2 minutes. So you just
Start reeling them in.
Yeah,
that's like big rigs passing on I-5.
Yeah. exactly.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good analogy.
yeah, right out of Modesto or something.
So are those like entry level classes, or people just stick to those classes their entire racing career, or do they move around in classes? Or
They were entry level classes, and then it's a lot of it had to deal with when the mini trucks popped out, because you could get a lot more speed, more wheel travel, and it was a little easier to build. But they were mostly entry level classes, yes.
gotcha. Cut your
But it's
teeth
still,
on 'em and
I
then
mean,
move
it's
up.
still, and now the UTVs have killed all of that,
Oh.
because I don't even
Right.
think you can buy a class 9 car for what you can buy a UTV and go twice as fast.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and right out of the UTVs right out of the box. I mean,
Yeah.
I got my first real legit trail ride last month with Jason and his douche coupe, and it's I mean, right out of the box, those things
It's
were
like a
race
little mini
cars.
trophy truck.
Exactly.
I've tried to tell people they're good, but they're not scary. I mean, when I drive my car, it'll scare
Right,
you. Like
right.
it wants to kill you if you make a mistake. Where the UTVs are just so friendly. I mean, you just drive along
It is.
floored, and
It's silly.
you don't make a lot of mistakes. They should hold together. But
Yeah.
that really changed the sport, because you will see a lot of guys like, my era generation, where we used to go out in the garage and build a 2-wheel drive Ford truck or a Chevy truck or a Bronco or all that. All that's going to go away.
I was going to say, these cars you're not going to see anymore. I mean, why would you build one, right?
Right.
Unless you want the historical value. But it's like, shoot, what you just said, I can go out and buy a side-by-side that's going to be more capable and same amount of money or less or whatever, It's like, fuck.
And then the side by side world, you got the stock class, and then you got the stock modified, and then you got the unlimited.
Turbo. Yeah.
Yeah, the naturally aspirated. I mean, I don't know.
All the belt burners. Got all
Yep.
the belt burners. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. And and so, it does, it's something that we kind of said earlier about, like Rod being a true driver with if he had modern day equipment, what would have he been like today and one of these newer cars. I mean, with his driving skills,
I don't think he was always the fastest guy.
Uh-huh.
I think he was the most technical guy.
Okay.
And that's how he kept all of his stuff together and got across the finish line and won races.
But would you say that you don't have to be, well, I don't want to say that. It don't have to be as technical, but you got more leeway now, right? For, just like we were saying with the side-by-sides, you don't have to be a great driver to one of these side-by-sides now to go over, whoops, for example, because they just soak it up. The suspension's there and everything, where in the older cars, suspension.
That thing lets you know real quick.
Right? Yeah. It's beating you up.
Travel, yeah.
You're getting instant feedback of, I'm bucking over this whoop, and you're going to end up on your freaking lid if you don't drive it right. Where you've got more leeway with the newer rigs, I guess, is kind of where I was.
Yeah,
they're more forgiving, right?
More forgiving, I guess that's a good way of putting it.
The H1s we had 14 and a half inches of travel on the back and I think 12 in the front. So
okay,
they weren't monsters either.
Wow, yeah.
The big whoop-de-doos were not their
not
their bread and butter, but silt beds and sand washes.
Yeah,
those were good.
Yeah. So let's talk about shocks because I know you mentioned to me that you actually had to custom build some shocks for that H1.
Yeah, we started out. Well, the problem is if you go back in that time period, nobody except Mickey Thompson had really built big shocks, or Mike Smith. He was building big shocks, and Russ Wannermart was building big shocks.
What was big shocks back then? Because now we see 3-inch coilovers and 4-inch and
4-inch tubes.
Yeah, 4-inch tubes.
So we started with a 3-inch tube.
Wow.
Or a 3.5, and it wasn't enough. So we went to 4-inch and an inch and a half piston, or an inch and a half rod. So, and then we didn't have shock problems, but you had mechanical problems of trying to dampen all that energy.
Wow.
So we broke, I started out building stuff out of 1 3/4 chromoly for these shock mounts. When we were done, it was 2-inch 188 wall chromoly. So, I mean, you had some serious dampening forces. You had to figure out how to keep everything together on the vehicle.
Yeah, because your H1 was somewhere in that 8,000 pound range.
Yeah. And you were only allowed, by the rules, you're only allowed a single shock per wheel, and you're not really allowed to modify your shock mount, so to speak. It has to be part of the vehicle.
Okay.
I mean, you can incorporate it how you want to in the rules, but if you had your stock F-150 shock mounts, you're not really allowed to reinforce it, but you're allowed to add a shock and make different things. So you had to be a little creative.
Okay. Wow. So
these shocks were like bypass shocks, internal, external, or were they
internal bypass? Because you weren't. We weren't allowed coilovers because we had to deal with our spring. So we basically took the top of the coil bucket and cut it off and put our shock through the inside of the coil.
Okay.
So you just basically had a long shaft with a body that was all inside the coil spring.
Interesting.
How much did that assembly all end up weighing?
A lot. A lot. They're heavy, but if you look at them now, they're just as heavy. I mean, and most of it's your spring, especially on the 4-inch coilovers now. I mean, that's a lot of spring.
That is a lot.
A lot of oil, a lot of spring, because I think Kings are probably a little thinner on the tube, but they're using 1 1/4 inch shaft.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, that's a monster. And then tuning those things, I mean, that's just got to be, it's such an art. You talk to some of these shock guys and it's just, and you watch them and it's just, it's an art of shock tuning now and getting those cars dialed. And there's no single recipe, right?
No, there's no single recipe, because if you look at the stuff Ultra Ford does, I mean, you take Randy's car, for example, let's just say it weighs 4,500 pounds, but there's 2,000 pounds of it underneath that are all axles and tires. So your general rule of thumb is you almost want a 3-to-1 ratio above that 1,000-pound axle.
Oh, gotcha.
So if you've got 1,000 pounds and you got 18 inches of travel, you got to have some weight above that to make it work and absorb the desert. But the Ultra Ford thing changed all of that.
Yeah.
where they're going with a lot more valving and different spring rates. And Randy's car works really good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does.
That's kind of an understatement.
Well, I mean, works really good for what it is. It's not a trophy truck,
Sure.
but it is dialed in for what it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a freaking rock racer, man.
Well, as Levi Shirley has said, these are Swiss Army knives, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of, you have to, there's compromises on either side. It's not a true desert racer, and it's not a true rock crawler, but it's you know,
A little bit of everything.
happy compromise, you know.
Mhm.
So
The first time I got introduced to Levi Shirley, we pitted next to him at Glen Helen for qualifying for KOH, and they wrecked their Jeep somehow and bent the front axle. And him and his dad straightened that thing out on. And there's video of it somewhere. I know Dave Cole knows about it, but they sat there with torches and heated that thing up for an hour plus and straightened it back out and raced the next day. That was so awesome to see.
The whole axle.
The whole housing just whoop,
Oh my
got
gosh.
it back out.
The ingenuity in the pits. I love that. I love that stuff. Those great stories.
Well, I mean, we talked about earlier, but if you came all the way from Kansas,
Yeah,
you don't want to go home. You got another day of racing.
exactly.
That was the same race where Shannon went off the cliff too.
What?
Shit.
Oh, we were in this tight draw section going up this hill, and it's dusty as hell. And I'm going along, and I can see the car in front of me. I'm like, well, there's really nowhere to go. And then off to the right, Shannon blows by both of us and drives off some cliff, and we have to stop the race for 45 minutes to get him extradited out of there. Because we
Where'd
got
he
down.
go?
That's what we said. We got down, and we're calling our crew. It's like, where's Shannon? Where is Shannon? Where did he go? We could see the whole track, and he's not there. And then they finally got to us. He had driven off this cliff and had to get towed out.
Oh, jeez.
But boy, his car sounded good that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Till
They
it
always
didn't.
sound good.
No, it sounded good. No, he ran. He finished, I think.
Oh, good.
So yeah, from Vora, you got involved with Ultra 4.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so talk about that transition and
I think what happened was our economy was changing. Class 1 had died. So I was only racing against a few people in Class 1. So it wasn't, and I didn't have the money to go down south and do the Baja 1000 or anything like that. It was just, I enjoyed racing up here. So I think Dave Cole said in 2008, he put a spot up for King of the Hammers if you won the Ultra 4 series in Vora. And I won that, but I didn't have a car to go to KOA.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
So
That's
or
cool.
it either had to be 08 or 09 or somewhere along that
Okay.
line. And then that's when I met Derek Trent and a few Jeff Mello.
Oh yeah.
I got to race with, and my favorite was Kevin Yoder. God, I loved
Yoder.
loved racing with him. And Jason Shear.
Yeah.
He landed on me in practice once.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, at the finish line. I'm like, Jason, it was practice. It's over. He goes, oh yeah, I just drive all the way through.
Try the wheels off the thing. Gosh.
I had the chance to return the favor, but we went off a jump together. And my co-driver goes, whoa, whoa. His whole rear axle had slid out. He broke his triangular link. And I was like, all right, I won't get you.
Oh.
But I was like 3 inches from it.
Oh, shit.
It was fun. It was a good time racing with all those guys.
Oh yeah, I bet, man.
And there wasn't any rocks involved. So
Okay.
it was just short course racing.
Okay. Wow.
Those guys will kill me in the rocks anytime.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're a little wide, a little long.
Yeah,
So
anytime.
do you
got the
do any
power.
rock crawling at all, or are you strictly a desert guy?
The only rock crawling I've really done is just with Randy Slauson and riding in his car when we were doing some shock tuning and stuff like that. We would go up Chocolate Thunder or Backdoor, or he has his trails that he picks down there that I don't know where I'm going when I'm down there half the time. So
Randy doesn't either.
It's
yeah, but he goes everywhere.
but he does it fast, and it's better to ride with Randy than to try and follow him. So yeah,
Or be just standing around. It's is what he
follow Randy
says.
Slauson. Yeah, we had fun at Trail Hero again this year, and it was like James and I followed him, and it was like, what the hell are we doing? But it's good. We learn a few things every year we go down there, looking forward to the hammers this year. We like to go out and wheel before, and go with some of the different teams that are pre-running and stuff. And it's just a blast, just an absolute blast out there, and getting to see some of the drivers, with their skins off their car and their testing and, pre-running and all that stuff. So it's cool.
I get a little nervous when I'm down at the hammers because, I'll go ride my quad to these places and watch, and at night or in the day, it's like there is no unified direction of where everybody's going, and nobody's looking. And this guy just got his UTV, and he is Robbie Gordon Jr.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and they're not looking for you, so I get a little worried down there.
On a quad, yes, for sure.
I think I'd be a little. I mean, you definitely don't want to be walking around out in the desert. That's for sure.
Jeez.
But, size matters, and. You wonder why all the little side by sides have those big ass, or those lit up
donkey lights,
whip antennas.
Yeah,
so they can be seen. Otherwise,
it does
they get
help.
run
And the chase lights, help too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It is wild.
It's a free.
There's kind of the main road out of camp to, Chocolate Thunder and stuff, but there's a million different side roads off of it, or just avoiding a couple 3-4 bushes out there, and that's it. The whole thing's a road. So yeah,
when people when the shootout ends and everybody's racing back to Hammertown, it's like a freaking Wild West free for all.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best time I had out there was I got to ride with Ben Bauer for like 4 days he was on his motorcycle. We go take pictures for Charlene. And that was awesome because you got to go everywhere.
Yeah.
And that guy can ride. Holy mackerel.
Oh geez. Yeah. Yeah. Good old Ben. Yeah. And Charlene.
He would tell me he used to ride through here and go all the way up to Washington on a bike.
I believe it. He's done some crazy stuff. And like I say, he did the 6 days and crazy. He's got some stories, man. He's got some stories. It's I always love listening to him and the history that he has with off-roading. We'll get him on the podcast. We've had Charlene.
Yeah, we have.
But yeah. No, and then no shootout this year, Chris, or next year.
I announced that last week, and
you did. See, I haven't listened yet.
But I was shocked to hear that, and I mean, it
makes sense.
Yeah, It's either goes really well or it goes completely sideways, and the recoveries take forever.
That's the problem. Is the you got to make it really hard because the cars are super capable,
right?
And then when something goes wrong, it goes drastically wrong. So now it's a half an hour recovery, and you're just sitting there with nothing to watch. And they tried to do this separate rock crawl off to the side, a couple years ago, and that had good merit, but it was like, okay, you couldn't see them too well, from all the, there was some vantage points, but there wasn't very many good vantage points to see the whole thing. And anyways, I get it. It's kind of a bummer, but it's definitely evolved.
They'll fill it in with something else. Maybe they'll have like human cannonball show or something like that.
That's what that event's missing, a human cannonball. Maybe you should sign up for that, Chris.
Yeah,
at Ultra 3 night.
I don't have a helmet.
Well, we'll get you a helmet. We'll get you a red, white, and blue helmet. That's easy. The hard part's going to be finding a cannon.
That's big enough for me to fit in it?
I didn't say that. I just said hard enough finding a cannon.
I know the first year I raced KOH, I think it was 2013, we had built a brand new car, so I took a Duramax and put it basically behind the same chassis as I had, but it had a straight axle, all portals. And we didn't finish the car till the night before the race because everyone's like, "Are you going to go qualify?" I go, "No, nope. I've never even driven this thing." So we went out for a 40-mile run and had a good time.
Cool. No kidding.
Yeah, we passed Robbie Gordon, but he had blown his engine on the lake bed, so that's my one claim to fame.
Oh, that's great. With a Duramax.
Yeah, a Duramax. And it was in limp mode. So we were trying to get up some of the stuff and we didn't know it was in limp mode. It was just like, well, I'm in all the gears. So I'm already in fourth. So we'll just keep going. And we just ran. We broke an AR mount and got it going again. And we had lost our tool bag, our spare tires, and or fuel pump or something. And we finally got to Chocolate Thunder. It's like, you know what? It's 4:00 and we can see camp. We will call this a day. So we called it a day at that point. And we didn't have the air locker wasn't working on the front diff, so I wasn't going anywhere. But it was a fun experience. We went through rock trails. I just, I cannot say I'm a professional rock crawler.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, where you're comfortable in the desert, I'm not. I don't like going fast or anything like that, and I like this technical rock crawling. So, for these drivers that are excel in both areas is quite an accomplishment, and I guess the seat time and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just put me in the rocks. I'll figure out a way to get out.
Either gonna make it or break it.
That's right. That's right. Hey, so you want to talk about all your knowledge of building these crazy shocks that you did from scratch for the Hummer? You kind of turned that into a little business.
Yeah. I have a company called Bradley's Raceworks, but I don't do much race car stuff anymore. So, but I'll still build custom shocks from one-off from time to time. Same thing. It's just going to be a massive coil over, internally bypassed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about where that went or no?
No,
Okay.
not really.
Okay.
I mean, it's
right.
not that important. It's just, some days you step up to the plate and you hit the ball and it goes.
Yeah, but it was a home run.
Yeah. Well, what we did was we started building suspension kits. The way this all works is the military had a problem with the Humvee when they up-armored them. When we were doing our test, like a normal Humvee probably weighs 6,500 pounds. So it's not that bad as a vehicle. But when you armor plated them, we were already pushing 14.2.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And
fun fact, real quick, the up armor kit was developed just a mile from my house at Lawrence Livermore Lab.
Oh, it was?
That's right.
Oh, interesting. Well, there you go.
Now you can get them scrapped in Barstow for nothing.
Yeah, right.
350,000 a copy.
Oh my gosh.
What?
The armor plated Humvees were like 350 back then.
That's our
to the military
at work.
Yeah, I have pictures of them in Barstow they're taking all the armor plating off, and that's what sells on Government Planet now.
Oh my god!
So they doubled the weight of the Humvee with this up armor package.
Yeah, and what happened to the suspension they had was they had a spring problem and a ball joint problem and a shock problem. So Chad Hall with Rod Hall Products solved all. Well, we went up against a bunch of people during testing. It took 3 years worth of testing to figure out that the kit that Rod and Chad and myself had helped build was the kit that solved the problems for these vehicles. So we were getting them up to that weight and they were able to drive it. It was something, some type of specific test that they have for the military, but they would do some kind of evasive S-turn move to avoid an object and then come back. And they were able to do our trucks at 78 miles an hour. Whew. So that's floored.
That's max.
Yeah, that's all you got. So we solved that problem, and so we were awarded a contract, and I built a lot of shocks.
That's cool. That
is awesome.
Yeah, I was.
It was neat to see it, but all the stuff went to the special ops guys in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Wow.
So we never saw it here.
Protect the men that serve. I mean, that's important stuff. So,
yeah, pretty cool to be part of that, and contributing to.
We got to go back to I think it's Aberdeen Proving Grounds in Michigan, and they put this Humvee on. And this is the most bitchinest thing I've ever seen, but it was a place where they test the gun turrets for the M1 Abrams. So it sits there hydraulically and moves the turret, and the barrel has to stay focused with the target.
Sure.
So they can basically take a Humvee or a 6x6 or whatever you want to put on it and put on these hydraulic rams. And they can simulate suspension movement like you've never even seen. Like you want to hit a 6-inch speed bump at 30 miles an hour, it's programmed. Wow. And it's bam. I mean, it shakes the dust out of the grills. It breaks the body panels. It's violent, but they would do all of that testing, and we went through all that testing with our shocks and
No
all that
kidding.
stuff. They would do it with frequencies too, where the whole truck would vibrate so bad, rattles the glass, the grill would fall out. It was insane.
Wow.
But that's what they would do.
Sure.
That was at the military stuff.
So you got to see.
I mean, you stand in a room and watch it all
Sure.
day, and it's really boring till it gets going. But man, I mean, you had to hit a 6-inch round at 60 miles an hour. So you're just
What?
hitting a log at 60 miles an hour. And that hydraulic setup would simulate that with the vehicle.
Wow.
Yeah.
God.
The forces
That's
that
big
it went
money.
through.
Big money there.
14,000-pound rig hitting a 6-inch speed bump.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah, that'd be an airbag deployment in a civilian car.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man. So wow, that's cool, Brad. So what else coming up? Are you gonna be at KOH this next year?
It really depends on snow removal. So if I do, I'll go down with Randy and I'll haul his cars or whoever else's junk will fit in my trailer.
Okay.
And then I just hang out with them. But if it's going to snow, then I have to do snow removal. So I have to stay here.
Gotcha. So it all depends on weather. Yeah. Well, we got a little snow last night, so that's a good start. But yeah, we'll see. And with KOH being basically a week earlier this year.
Is there a reason why it's a week earlier? Or?
So yeah, there was something with the military base out there. Yeah,
49 palms.
Yeah, they needed the desert for a week that week, so it pushed them up a week. So I don't know. Interesting. It's not like this is the first or second year of KOH. It's been around for a while now, and pretty damn big event for that area. I'm being #sarcastic here. It's like, what the hell? Why? Anyways, somebody
because military. That's all.
Because military. Because somebody obviously didn't care about
they have bigger
the KOH
guns.
schedule. So unfortunately, racers have 1 week less of prep, #race prep, before this next year's race, which is coming up in, when this podcast released, it'll be 30-something days, 30
less than 40 days. It'll be like 37, 36 days.
Holy smokes. I got a lot of prep to do. How about you, Chris?
I got nothing.
You got nothing? Are you bringing the Jeep?
I'm going to
Or are you bringing the side-by-side?
I'm gonna bring me and a
Okay.
big jar of peanut butter, a loaf of bread, and some honey.
I don't know how to respond to that. Okay. All right.
Clothing optional?
Yeah. What's what the fuck? Is this something going on at Ultra 3 night that I don't know about, or what? Is
Green
Wow, you
thong?
had to
Yeah.
go there.
yeah. We're
I'm prepping my Ultra 3 race tricycle and getting that ready. It's got a
the
V8.
ATC. ATC. That would be cool. They should get one with a V8 out there.
They have the Boss Hogs.
They do have the Boss Hogs. You're right. Yeah,
right.
that would be badass.
Put
Just
some
like
37s on it.
They
Hey, if they can make a V8 powered chainsaw, I'm sure they can make a V8 powered
Oh, they got 'em.
tricycle.
yeah, they're there. ATCs are there, man. There's some hot bikes in there though. Some of those, it's fun looking at all those bikes lined up at the afternoon before the big Ultra 3 night, and there's like 60 bikes there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Hey, Brad, have you ever raced the Ultra 3?
No, I did have a 3-wheeler that's what I started riding. I rode the Honda Big Reds with no suspension.
Oh, jeez. The other big tires just bouncing.
Like the ones
With
that
the
saw in the
pulse-
James Bond movie?
Pull start.
Yeah, with a pull start too.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a few of those out there.
Then I got a Takati 250 when I was probably about 20 years later.
Oh, wow.
I liked riding them. They were fun.
Yeah.
You could count on your hand how many times you did a good jump over your whole life.
Yeah. So, we're getting prepped up. I gotta start going through my stuff. It's going to be here before we know it, man. It's Christmas and then, New Year's. And then it's like, hello. We're already starting to get our list together for our Hammertown Heights estates. We've got a new theme this year. You know what it is, Chris?
I'm an outsider. I have no idea what is.
What do you mean
thing?
an outsider? You're
haven't
part of the
seen-
inner group.
I haven't seen anything.
Well, it's coming out soon. It's coming out soon, but I
Right.
thought maybe I mentioned it to you.
No,
It's
we'll see.
you're going to be able to participate in this just by going into your closet. I guarantee you got some bell bottoms, and it's disco. Disco is the theme this year, so you can get your disco on this year.
I'm gonna bust out my Bee Gees freaking vinyl. I'll bring my record player.
You
and we'll play
should.
some
That would be cool.
Staying
Make some Rice
Alive,
Krispie
Staying
treats.
Alive.
Put some peanut butter on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what this whole thing is with peanut butter. I'm a little nervous here.
Got John Travolta outfit, my white suit with a black shirt.
That would be great. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Saturday night, and we'll have to play Saturday night. Somebody's got to have Saturday night.
Oh, we got to play that.
Fever. Saturday Night
We've
Fever, the
got.
movie.
So, okay, we got to make that happen. That's a good point, Chris. Thanks. I've got the brand new projector. Dolly's got the TV screen, so we will have to have Saturday Night Fever going on there. That'll be good. Oh yeah, we got disco balls already.
Oh boy.
So yeah, start thinking about your costume for Ultra 3 night Tuesday night.
I'm drinking bourbon.
Well, Brad, anything else? Welcome to the podcast, and
Thanks.
you're an avid listener,
Yes.
so appreciate that. You got a lot of windshield time, I guess, driving up and down in your service truck and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, this is cool. So now you know behind the scenes, the inner workings of our podcast. You know some of the secrets, not all of them, but you know some of them.
Yeah, I don't know how the Christopher Walken voicemails come in yet. Those are always classic.
That is classic, and yes, we are due for a Christopher Walken.
That's a deeply held secret.
Yeah, we're about due for another call in from Chris.
I haven't heard from Arnold in a while either.
Arnold's good.
You guys haven't said Toyota suck in this episode.
Oh,
yet
we
either.
haven't. So there you go. We'll let you say it at the end. Final shot. Yeah,
Hey, Barry
Chris
said Toyota suck.
He did you're right. He did say it in the voicemail. It was said, but we will reiterate it.
It can be repeated many
Yes.
times.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
it's true.
Because you know what? Because Brad's a Ford guy. That's
Yeah,
that's
am
why
a
we
Ford guy.
instantly hit it off.
Oh,
So he's a Ford guy. So
everybody has their flaws.
Everybody has problems, but we're still first on race day.
Exactly. There you
Or
go.
found on roadside dead, or
For off-road driving only.
Yeah, off road. I like that. Oh, shoot. Well, good stuff, man. Well, thanks for hanging out. I know you were over at Bomber Fab this morning, so you got to see Randy and Amber and Adam and them over there grinding away, getting their 4400 car together.
Yeah, just doing a
Or
little
4800 car they're working on, I should say that.
little tune-up on the motorhome. For
Okay, there you go.
is the 4800 a roller yet?
I don't know.
No,
Not yet.
not. It's got a front axle on it, I think.
Okay. They're getting there. You know, he just needs a couple
Motor
more
and Trans was in it. They were doing beautiful sheet metal work.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is such art.
He does really good.
You could just hang it on your wall.
Yeah.
I do have a good Randy Slauson story.
Oh
though.
oh good.
God.
we like good Randy Slauson
This
stories.
one's horrible. I felt bad for it, but
Oh no.
it was 2 years ago at KOH when he had the brand new car,
Oh yeah.
and this was the 4400, and I was working on the transmission looking for a leak, and I left the dash panel up on the ramp of my trailer.
Oh, no.
And Nick got in the car in the morning and fired it up and backed over it
Oh no.
and flattened the entire dash panel.
Oh
Oops.
shit.
I mean, it was flat, like, and we're like, holy crap. So we basically took that in to my trailer and laid it out on the bed and beat it out with with dead blow hammers and got it to where it would fit again.
Oh,
And it's still on his car. I felt bad. I'm like, that's still the same dashboard? Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great
It's-
story.
oh,
I didn't
God.
hear that story.
Yeah, it was
That's
awful.
awesome.
I was like, oh my God. And you know how nice his dashes are. That thing was flat.
Adam does great sheet metal work.
God.
There's another art form right there that it's cool. He just posted up on his Instagram page putting the 4800 dash together.
Mm.
what do you want to call a fast sequence of that whole ordeal. So yeah. Oh, Jesus.
More ammunition to bust
Sorry.
Randy's balls about.
No, it wasn't his fault. It was all mine.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's all right. Nobody got hurt.
he looked at it and goes, "Oh."
No.
But did you die?
I'm like, that was the most expensive piece on the whole car. Because it only has to fit one way.
Right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, hopefully the weather cooperates and we get to see you on the lake bed, Brad. And,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Share some more stories and sit around the campfire and
Come see
have
us
a whiskey or
up at
four.
Hammertown Heights.
Yeah, exactly. You can't miss us. We're right across from Ultra 3. So
You a whiskey drinker, Brad?
Yes, sir, but not tonight.
yeah, no, he's been eyeing all the.
I'm driving a
the
commercial
whiskey.
vehicle.
Oh, I
Exactly.
hear ya.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
I like Jameson and I like Jack Daniels, and I think there's a Knob Creek also. But
Oh yeah.
I haven't really tried a whole lot of different ones just because I just drink what I like. But
Right.
There you
and I
go.
like mine with ice. I don't understand
No, we do
that
too.
whole concept of. I mean, it makes it nice chill. I like it frozen. It's
Yeah.
great,
Yeah. No, we're
especially in this country. You just set it out on the front
Yeah.
porch
exactly.
from now till
if
April.
If you like it I mean, you can get it cold with without water by doing the stones,
Marble.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't tried that.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. But I like the big rock, so it doesn't melt quick, but it gets it super cold, and it adds a little bit of water, which opens up the whiskey that
Yep.
we've talked about here on the podcast. So that's the way I prefer it. But
I keep all my shot glasses in the freezer, so
oh, there you go. See, yeah,
That works too.
nice cold
So-
glass. Then they got those glasses. I've got one of the glasses that it has a silicone wedge that goes into it. So half you fill it up with water, and half the glass freezes of water, so it creates this big ice cube
Wedge.
triangle in there, wedge, yeah. And then you pour your whiskey on top of that, so the glass is ice cold. Obviously, you got the ice in there, and that's a good one too.
Mhm.
It is called something, the whiskey sickle glass or something like that. I don't
think
know.
the
That's a good.
whiskey wedge or something.
Yeah,
I
makes a
have
good
one
Christmas
too,
gift.
so.
We could
Yeah.
add that to the Christmas list if
That's
you're still
right.
Christmas shopping like Chris is. I haven't done any Christmas shopping yet, so don't feel bad, Chris.
Well, I don't actually feel bad.
Oh, good. Good. I don't want you to feel bad over there.
You have any last thoughts there, Brad?
no, I appreciate you having me on the podcast, and it was quite a bit of fun.
Yeah,
Pleasure to have you.
and
Absolutely.
Toyotas suck.
So, Jason, how do they get a hold of us if they want to communicate with you or I?
Send up smoke signals. That's the best way to do it,
that is a
especially at
good
KOH or a sequence of 4 mortars that will also signal us like the bat signal. No,
Two Beto bombs in a row.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Hit us up on the phone lines 408-800-5169. Of course, you can email Chris directly at Chris@Wheel & Wine & Whiskey. You can email me directly at Jason@Wheel & Wine & Whiskey. Or Lorenzo. Lorenzo hasn't gotten any email. He's feeling a little left out. It might cause him to start drinking again. So send Lorenzo a little love. Lorenzo@wheelingwineandwhiskey.com. Of course, the IG, Wheel & Wine & Whiskey.
Oh, wait,
And,
Lorenzo does have an email here. It's from a collector, a bill collector.
Oh, that's why I thought maybe his account was deleted, so it's still working. Okay, so that's good. And then hit our website up. I know Johnny's been cranking out some orders. Again,
Yes.
the Justin Wicks print, minimum $150 donation. 100% of the profits go to Justin. So you can donate more than $150 if you want. Get that killer print. So like I say, I believe we have 5 left of those. So that is great. So other than that, Chris, that's all I've got.
All right. I don't have anything else.
You got nothing else?
Good luck to all you guys that are prepping your cars for KOH right now.
Well
The
said.
grind is on.
Yeah. A lot of them listen.
Banging and clanging.
Banging and clanging, as Chris likes to say, and a lot of them are listening to this podcast while they're working. So we do appreciate that, and best of luck to you guys out there. We'll see you on the lake bed. And with that, Chris,
We're out.